need compassion when you're working with the Kundalini energy. If you lack compassion, the Kundalini energy would not be structured correctly, and you can hurt yourself, right? And you have to make sure all of your 7 chakras are open. Has to be open like a faucet, or you could burst the pipe, right? So I'm one of those people, y'all. I'm being 100% honest with y'all. I never worked on my Kundalini energy. What happened was I worked on my chakras, and as I worked on each chakra, my Kundalini naturally rose. It naturally rose up. So a lot of people do Kundalini exercises, and they chakras they're rocks, they're stones, they're closed, they're not open, they haven't dealt with their heart chakra. So you need to work on your chakras, family, before you start dealing with that Kundalini energy, because it is connected to Lucifer. And that's why it's so powerful. That cosmic mother, right? That cosmic mother that knows everything, right? And also it being a serpent energy once again, right? And I talked about how Lucifer is connected to that serpent energy. So this is the cosmic mother energy. And if you're not ready for that, you can hurt yourself tremendously. Y'all can go just type it into YouTube. It's people from different races literally telling their story about how they opened their Kundalini too early and they got hurt. And as they went to go see Matt, this one black kid was talking about it, how he wouldn't stop itching for 2 years straight.
Damn.
He was itching so bad, the only thing that would calm him down is a cold shower. He still be itching though. This boy was talking about committing suicide. He activated his Kundalini energy and it shot up. And he did this really early, and the energy the fire that it gave off made his whole body itch to the point where it was driving him insane. So I'm not telling nobody don't do Kundalini work. I'm saying that's the part of it's some things in spirituality, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all, take it slow. Brothers call me all the time, Brother Yosef, semen retention. Cool, nothing wrong with that, right? Because if you do semen retention, it will make your aura bigger and it will give you more life force. But at the same time, family, be careful, because you could never bust again. You know what I'm saying? You could lock something up. So on that aspect, I'll tell people, hey, you messing with the Kundalini, work with a teacher. You're messing with semen retention, or that type of art, work with a teacher that has done it and can tell you something instead of just doing it yourself, because anybody can just go without sex. But when you start, after so long, your body's going to get used to not doing something, and you're going to eventually try to have sex, and brother ain't going to be able to ejaculate. And what you going to do after a year, you can't ejaculate. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
You're going to lose your mind. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
And that's actually something, when I first practiced it, I made that mistake. And I couldn't ejaculate for almost 3 months. You know what I'm saying? I was going to hurt myself. I'm just going to tell y'all the truth. You know what I'm saying?
You being
so that's why I'm like, oh my God, people got to be careful with this. If you just play with it, you could really close something inside of yourself, and it'd be hard to open it back. Thank God I learned how to open it back up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, certain things in spirituality, y'all gotta be, I know some people say, well, just go forward and do it. I'm not telling y'all to be afraid. I'm just saying, hey, move with caution. That's all.
Indeed. You know, so a lot of people that watch my program, you know, they're still Christians, and there's nothing wrong with that. People are into what they're into. And for those who read the Bible, they know, I believe that both Lucifer and Jesus was referred to as the light bringer. So why do both of these entities have the same title? Okay.
So before there was ever a Jesus Christ, the energy of Lucifer in that name was Lucifer. The oldest name for Venus is Lucifer.
Yeah.
Venus was called planet Lucifer at first. And that's the Latin term for Lucifer, because Venus was a light bringer.
Yeah.
That's what they called Venus. Before it was called Venus, it was known as the light bringer planet. The reason why is because Lucifer is one of the hidden Christ. And what I mean by that is once again dealing with the Ophites, who was accused of worshiping snakes, right? And they said they had a snake cult and all this stuff. They were Gnostics. They were Christian Gnostics. Right. And what it is that they dealt with Lucifer. They worshiped Lucifer and dealt with Lucifer. So Lucifer was the first bright and morning star. It's just what it was. And then when religion hit the scene, they gave that title to Jesus Christ. So, but the original bright and morning, because you can't, okay, Jesus, you're the bright and morning star. Where does that come from? What do you line up with? I don't understand. But we know Lucifer being the bright and morning star is a fact. That's Venus, and that's the brightest thing you see in the morning. You don't see nothing called Jesus Christ. You don't even see the sun. Before the sun rises, you see Lucifer in the sky. the bright and morning star. So that's where that comes from, and that's where people get the confusion. So some Christians will say, well, Jesus is the bright and morning star, and that's cool if you believe it, but relating to what, right? But so I want people to understand that term comes from Lucifer first, and the Gnostics. Remember, before Christianity existed, Gnostic religions were there, and the Gnostics are nothing. They took their information out of Egypt, right? They took the information out of Egypt and they spoke Coptic. So Gnostics were the first ones to deal with that information and talk about the Christ within, and they used Lucifer as the original Christ from that perspective. And then once religion hit, they came and gave you Jesus Christ as the bright and morning star. But originally, all scientists know that's what it was called, the bright and morning star, Venus.
Oh man. So what I like is that you you've delved into so many things and you practice a lot of different things. Like you said, the semen retention. I've heard you throughout the last couple of years tell me about the practices that you the spells, certain things you've done. I got an interesting one for you. We have heard about sun gazing. A lot of people wake up, they sun gaze, they talk to the sun. They say affirmations to the sun. Some people moon gaze, some people look at the light of the moon. Have you ever Lucifer gaze, brother Yosef? Have you ever, it says Venus is the morning star. Venus used to be called Lucifer. Have you ever Lucifer gaze for answers, brother Yosef?
Man, nobody never asked me that question.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I have never Lucifer gazed.
All right.
But there is a type of magic that deals with the planets where you can receive energy directly from Lucifer.
Yeah.
It's not gazing, but it's more of a way to pull the frequency of Lucifer down. And stargazing, people gaze at stars as well, which are further away in this hologram, right? Because when you're really doing that, you're really pulling from the astral plane anyway. So I want people to understand, when you're practicing planetary magic or star magic, you're pulling it from the astral plane because it don't exist here. When you look up in the sky, that is a hologram, y'all. There's no such thing as Venus on Earth. You're looking at a hologram of something that exists in the next dimension, in the fourth. So once we get to a certain frequency, that's when you're going to hear them saying, you're actually going to be able to see these people fly to Mars. Once Earth hits a certain frequency, they're waiting for that quarantine to lift all the way. Once they have lifted, once that quarantine, we come out of this fishbowl, you can go to Mars. It won't just be a map or a hologram that you're looking at. You're actually going to be able to go to Mars, but it don't exist on the third dimension. We're still going through the frequency family of obtaining or getting to the fourth dimension. Once you do that, it'll be like Star Wars. You can go to space. You can go to you can do all that stuff. So as a third dimensional magician, you're turning your body into a magnetic Earth frequency. You're using the Earth frequency to pull down stars, the energy from stars, which is plasma, and also the plasma light that exists around Venus. You're using that, right? You're pulling that from the fourth dimension is what I'm trying to say. So, but no, I've never Lucifer gazed, but it is possible to pull energy from planets and stars through magic.
Indeed. So, in terms of, the hologram and the illusions, you talk about the 8 dimensions still being an illusion. Are these entities, the reptilians, the Anunnaki, are they able to make it past the 8 dimensions?
As far as I know right now, none of the Anunnaki has done it, but the reptilians have. The reptilians, and this goes into the cherubim angels, and who are 11. The cherubim angels are 11 dimensional, and the Sephirim angels, who are 16 dimensional, right? So the Sephirim angels line up more with the reptilians. The cherubims are connected to the Anunnaki. So when you see the Anunnaki with wings, they naturally, a lot of them, the higher versions of the Anunnaki, some don't have wings, but the taller and the bigger ones who have the original bloodline, they actually have wings. And that comes from them being connected to that bird tribe, the cherubim, right? And that's just what they call the bird tribe. And that is, so their bloodline is originally from the overworld, just like ours is. But they, the only people who actually did it, who are on Earth, these reptilians, their bloodline to the right now, they can reach they have ancestors that they can reach up to the actual 16th dimension.
So in your video, you said that Lucifer is part of a galactic council that wants to help mankind. Could you explain who's a part of this galactic council?
You have different extraterrestrial groups. The Anunnaki are part of this group, and there's so many different councils. The Galactic Council family, and it's funny because I did a video today called the Galactic Federation of Planets.
I didn't see that yet. I gotta watch that.
I put that up earlier today, and I talked about level 2 ETs in the Galactic Federation of Planets. And I'm kind of in the future going to do a video about the Galactic Council, but pretty much, family, this is probably one of the most talked about things when you watch ET information. There's so much information on the Galactic Council, and I don't agree with everything. You know what I'm saying? And that's just from my own astral traveling and looking at information, right? So, some people vary on the differences of how many members are in this council. And also the Galactic Federation is pretty much a council that oversees this galaxy, right? This galaxy. And they also help other worlds that are just like Earth. They watch over and protect them because of certain beings with potential. Human beings are not the only ones that have potential. There are other beings and other races that have potential that if you're not, and I talked about this in the video I just did, if you're not on the 5th dimension, you're not even considered a planet in the higher worlds. You're not even considered, like, they look at you as ants. You live in an ant farm. So because you live in an ant farm and you don't have no access to technology, real technology, or spirituality even, which is respected as well, higher level spirituality, you can't turn yourself into a higher vibratory plasma being. Then what happens is negative ETs come in and try to take you over. They turn you into a food source. They enslave your planet. So the Galactic Council is a group that's here to protect and help humanity evolve. They're going to help us get to the class 1, a type 1 civilization, which is, we're not even close to that right now. But we need to get to that, a type 1 civilization. Once we get to that type 1 civilization, and we'll be in the 4th dimension, and by that, on that level, the Galactic Federation of Planets will help us evolve to the 5th dimension. So Dr. Blair gave us the science a long time ago. Dr. Blair said planet Earth is going from the 3rd dimension to the 5th dimension. We heard him say that 100 times. He just never told us exactly how it's going to happen. And I'm telling y'all, what's going to happen is the Galactic Council is going to help humans get to the 4th dimension. I said it last year in my video, the Rise of the Star Nations. And I talked about how, it was the 4 root races in the Rise of the Star Nations. I said, as we get deeper into the 4th dimension, we're going to interact with ETs. And like I said in the video, you can't turn on Instagram or TikTok today without somebody showing a UFO video. People in the hood, people in South America, China, everybody showing these UFO videos. They
even talking about aliens on Vlad TV now.
And I couldn't believe it when he brought Stephen Greer on there. I was like, what's going on? Something is happening.
Yeah.
I can't, because this is a hip hop thing. Like, what is he doing with Stephen Greer up here? Yeah, I just blew my mind. You know what I'm saying? So, but this is real, y'all. So, this is who this group is, right? And they've existed even before human beings was really put on this planet. This group was already watching other planets. So we're babies. We're just little tiny babies that other negative entities want to come in and take us over, just like you see on these movies with these other aliens races taking over the planet. They don't do it because we're protected by these advanced beings. But eventually the goal, family, is to get to the 5th dimension. Whether you do it by obtaining your Merkaba or your light body and you beat everybody else there, right? Or you keep your vibration high, you train your children, and then your children train your grandchildren, and your grandchildren can train your great-grandchildren to stay on the frequency of planet Earth, and then let Earth go naturally with the Earth into the 5th dimension. Because Earth is going there. But there will be a splitting. And some people will stay here on the 3rd dimension. And the way it's going to work is simply people are going to wake up and just every day a person wakes up, they're going to be either going further back or they're going further forward. And some people are going to wake up and just things are going to be different. You're not going to remember your mom. You're not going to remember your wife. You're going to be in a whole nother reality. That's what's going to happen as the frequency changes. You're going to be in a higher world. Some people are going to become robots. They're already talking about this stuff. They're going to put your consciousness in a robot.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, that's going to be your universe right there. You're going to put your consciousness in a robot and live inside of an AI system. And you're going to be controlled. You're going to be trapped forever.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be some people. So
interesting. Brother Yosef, do these different species of ETs, these different races, whether it's the Anunnaki or the Greys or the Reptilians or the Zeta, whatever their name, Zeta Reptilians, do they show favoritism to certain races down here on this planet, being the Chinese, the Indian, the blacks, the white, things of that nature?
Okay, that's a good question. So, how can I say this? Because this is the point where people disagree with dealing with Enlil and Enki, right?
Okay, let's go.
So, when you're dealing with Enki, he loves humanity. He loves humanity, right? But he usually only wants to deal with the blacks on the planet.
Who, Enki?
Enki, yes.
Okay.
He don't want to deal with nobody else.
Why is that? Why?
That's just how he is. Because when he originally created humans, he didn't create no other race. He created blacks. Well, I don't want to call them black, but he created people that like me and you. That with beards and all that stuff. He created people that identify with Anunnaki.
Right.
We were created in God's image. Enlil, who they call evil, right? And that's a whole nother thing. He kind of wants to deal with everybody on the planet. That's a whole nother thing, right? He wants to deal with everybody. So them two brothers are always disagreeing on everything, not just humanity, but even how stuff should be ran. Because Enlil always felt like I should be running the kingdom. I'm the original full-blooded Anunnaki, and then Enlil's half draconian, but he had to be born so stuff could happen. So, long story short, that's really what it is. Enki only wants to deal with blacks. He don't want to deal with nobody else. And Enlil wants to deal with them. So when you deal with the other ET groups, they kind of see everybody as the same. Now, because of past history with certain ancestors, there are groups that tend to go back to certain races. Like you could look at the Hopi people. They have the people from the Vega star system that actually deal with the Hopis. And they'll come down to the Hopis every now and then to give them information and knowledge. Right? You got people in the Dogons who dealt with a race that came directly to them. They didn't go to nobody else. And you can see that all over the planet. Certain groups will only come down and speak with certain people. And then that's because they dealt with their ancestors the same way. But I wouldn't say they show favoritism. It's just that they used to dealing with this group of people here. So and right now, I would say the strongest UFO activity and ET activities in South America. I've been saying that for a while. South America is like the new stronghold for a lot of ET groups. And that's because of so many caves that connect to the inner earth. Okay. That's a whole nother thing. So, but yeah, that's what I would say that, and the Zeta Reptilians actually, their bloodline is actually mixed in with the Egyptians as well. That's why you see the elongated heads that come from the Zeta Reptilians. So,
So, Brother Yosef, if this is a holographic universe that we exist in, and we are all holograms being projected into this realm, who would you describe me and you as on another realm? What name, like what entity, what species would be described as, since we're just holograms communicating with each other?
Gods. If you have a soul, you are a god of another dimension. And let's be clear about something, right? So when you look at the gods, let's just take Thoth, for example, right? Thoth, the way he looks, that version of him really does exist in, 7th, 8th, 9th dimension. A lot of the gods live in the 7th, 8th, 9th. That's why the Anunnaki deem themselves gods, because they was able to take their technology so high to go up there to where the gods are, right? Which is the 7th, 8th dimension. A lot of the old gods live in the 8th dimension, but those are holograms. Those are holograms. In the overworld, the true gods, your true form, that's part of your soul, is a puppet master. So what I'm telling y'all is that a lot of the gods y'all worship is really you.
It's really you. Yeah, right.
It's really you. And they're a hologram just like you, but they have more freedom. That aspect of you has more freedom, and it can help you help yourself. right? You can working with a certain deity can help you help yourself, because you're really talking to yourself, right? So what I'm trying to say is that in our oversoul level, outside of the hologram, you are, I can't even call it a god. You're something else. You're something greater than a god. You're a creator, just like the supreme being, right? You're above the angels. You're above the angels. You're all that stuff. You're beyond that. But you connect to all these things as well, because when you first came down from the creator, you came from heaven to earth. You didn't come directly to earth. You came down in different dimensions, and you created a body. So you already have an 8th dimensional body, 7th dimensional body, 6th dimensional body, 5th dimensional body, and a 4th dimensional body. But because our consciousness is low, the only one that we can interact with is the 4th dimensional body. Right? So we go to sleep at night, we dream, and we interact with that 4th dimensional self, that 4th dimensional body.
The astral, you talking about
the astral body, right?
Right.
And as you grow in consciousness, you start realizing, oh, I can connect with my 5th dimensional body. I can go to a place where I could create what I want, and I could be light. I could be a light being. And you can go to the ascended masters, live in so the 5th dimension is light. You as a place of light where you first start to grow your spiritual light. The 6th dimension is where ascended masters go. Buddha, Gautama Buddha, Babaji, all these great ascended masters, they all go 6th dimension. That's where you become a baby god. The Siddhas. I talked about Siddhas too in my video that I did on YouTube. So the Siddhas are like 6th dimensional, 7th dimensional. 7th dimension, so if you're an immortal person, you're a god. If you live forever, you're a deity. That's what a god is, nothing but an immortal, a mortal human. So that may take you higher up in the matrix, but you're still, you may be more free, but you're still stuck. You still gotta go to school in every dimension until you find a way to get out. And the best way to go is spirituality. What these other beings are doing is going what they've always done, technology. They're trying to mess up the creation of what the Anunnaki did. These rebels, the adversaries, Satan, he wants to keep the same thing so the Anunnaki don't make it back. They're pissed off. They want to do their own thing. You can also call them the fallen angels, because we don't just wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities, spiritual wickedness in high places, right? What does that mean? That means that the true people that control the whole universe, that really mess with us down here on Earth, they look like me and you. They're black people. They're Anunnakis that control. So there's a hierarchy in the negative aspect of the Illuminati. They worship these so-called God type beings that are really reptilians and Anunnaki beings. And they look like us. We're made in God's image. We're made to look like the Anunnaki. A lot of those higher people over there that control things, they look like black people. So we got to understand what it is. That's what it is. They ain't just reptilians. It's higher than that. There's a hierarchy to that. And that's because they came from Inky. So that's what that whole idea of the hierarchy comes from.
Right. What would you describe the Anunnaki, depending on how we view this from a timeline perspective? What would be more accurate, Brother Yosef, to describe the Anunnaki as our ancestors, or to describe them as our children from the future?
Oh man, that's so the Anunnaki are our ancestors, and they are because they come from another timeline.
Yes.
So they are what we will become. If the Anunnaki never interfered with us, we would have became them. Right? That's pretty much what it is. We already became them. We already did that. In the timeline. In another timeline, we already became them. We already ascended. Our great grandchildren ascended, and that's what they became. You know? And the reason why people say, well, we got different races on the planet, how everybody black? Because melanin is dominant. You know, it's just a dominant gene. That's what everybody became. So we came back to help us. So that they are our children, but at the same time, because they use their DNA to make us, they're also our ancestors. So it's a weird thing, because our timeline was never supposed to exist. And that's why Inky got in trouble when he created us. He was never supposed to create us. And Anu was pissed off. You know what I'm saying? Some people say Inky went to jail. That's a whole nother thing. Right?
Wow.
But the thing is this, like, we was never supposed to be created. Right? And then once we was created, Inky, he told Inky, said, hey, you got to deal with him. Now that you created him. So now the Anunnaki saw the potential. Hey, these humans can really help us. You know what I'm saying? So that's a whole nother story. But yes.
So what would you say, you talked about the puppet masters in another dimension being us, the gods that we are worshiping being us. What would you say is a more powerful tool to tap into your potential? Would it be praying to your higher self, or praying to your ancestors? What do you think is a more powerful tool to tap into yourself?
I would definitely say praying to your higher self and working with that part of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Ancestor work is very important because when you start out as a magician,
Mm-hmm.
that is the first line of defense. Your ancestors. If you
Mm-hmm.
make them strong, they will help you the best they can.
Okay.
Problem is, a lot of our ancestors wasn't spiritual like that. But as a magician, you're just starting on spirituality, work with your ancestors, because if you heal them by way of giving them food and offerings and stuff like that, they heal you because they live inside your DNA in the quantum world.
Mm-hmm.
So quantumly, you can heal your ancestors, which will in return heal you, and that can help you grow as a magician as you walk in your spiritual path. And then there's another version of you as an individual that's separate from your ancestors. You as an individual that lives in a space that you can't perceive, but it's connected to you because you have a soul. So it's a piece of you that's directly from that lives here.
Mm-hmm.
You always should deal with that, right? And in my lecture I just did, the Mystic Mind, I talked about the Siddhas, who are pretty much humans that evolved themselves into gods. I gave the names of them, told people to work with them, and I told them, I said, you got the dark Siddhas and the light Siddhas.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked about the dark Siddhas, because the dark side is mostly goes with people that say, well, you do what thou wilt and all this stuff. But even on the left-hand path and the dark side, the dark Siddhas, they still give credit to Shiva and Kali. So they still deal with that, deal with a deity, even though they have evolved themselves. I think the science called Agora. Even though they have evolved themselves, they still deal with a god. They still give glory and praise and adoration to a force. And these dudes are so dangerous, they won't let them leave. They won't even let them leave India. They're that dangerous, and they'll teach anybody. And once they teach you, you can't leave. You gotta stay with them forever. And these dudes have been known to teleport. They eat dead bodies. They eat feces. Like, they do some crazy stuff to gain dark power. And even their light Siddhas don't mess with them. People scared of them. So I just want to make the point in that they also give credit to a higher force. So we should always never think that we're above. We should always have something to anchor our energy in, which is always you. So I don't want people in a spiritual walk to ever think, well, I don't need the gods. You're losing because you are the gods. You're denying a part of yourself. Work with the deity. I'm going to work with a deity until the day I die, and even after that, because I understand the science of it. That's me, and I'm going to need that aspect of me to help me move forward.
Brother Yosef, in ancient times, I'm talking about in ancient times. Obviously, we all, I guess we all experienced death, whether it was Atlantis, Lemuria. Our bodies all deteriorated and died at some point. In ancient times, did they bury their bodies, cremate their bodies, or were they into something completely different that we don't know about?
My understanding is that in the ancient times, mostly they cremated everybody. They understood the science that when you cremate somebody, I did a video about this called cremation versus burial. I did a video about that. They understood the science is that when you cremate a person, you help them out in the astral plane. And when a person is buried, if they're not buried with the correct rituals, those people walk around sleeping in the astral plane. And we know today when people bury, ain't nobody doing rituals over their body. Most people got a pastor up there, and they saying a prayer over this person, and they send them on to the next dimension.
Right.
You need the actual rites and the rituals, like the Egyptians did. They buried people with rituals. There was a whole ritualistic ceremony. When you bury the person, we don't do that today. We just put them in the ground. Give them a nice casket. We put them in the ground. That's the problem with burial today. So the ancients understood the science that go ahead and cremate them. You ain't a lot you gotta do after that. Just cremate the body, and that person can actually have a chance in the next life, in the afterlife, to be awake. Because as an astral traveler, I've seen in the dream world or the astral world, so many people just walking around like zombies. You see it. And the reason why they're doing that is because they're not all the way awake yet after they die. Some people have been dead for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And they're just walking around. But when their body fully decays, they'll wake up. That's kind of what happens. So unless they had some really negative karma, they usually come right back through the wormhole. But yeah, that's kind of what happened. So I would definitely say in the past if they definitely cremated people.
Indeed. Well, we about to wrap it up, family. Wow, what a show. I mean, this was like a instant classic, brother Yosef. Instant classic. Magnificent show. Shout out to everybody. Make sure you're subscribed if you are not subscribed to the channel to see more videos like this. Let me also take the time to very interesting topic. Very interesting topic. And the brother broke it down so thorough. That's what I really appreciate. The brother broke it down so thorough. So
before we get to the thing, can I say something about an event I got coming up real quick?
Yes, please do. Everything you get. Let me
So yeah, family, I got an event coming up October 1st in Houston, Texas. About 15 minutes from the airport on Ritchie Road. It's called Dare to Be Indigenous. And it's gonna be my first tribal event, but it's also gonna be, y'all know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna break down some information. We're gonna talk about the signs of animism. We're gonna talk about the signs of the spirit totem. So you don't have to be a part of my tribe to come. Of course, I'm expecting my tribal people who watch it. I'm expecting y'all to be there. But even if you're not a part of my tribe family, y'all can come on, get the knowledge, information. It's gonna be food there. We're gonna have vegan food there. Come on out, family. It's gonna be a good time. That's gonna be October 1st. You can go to my website and get all the information.
How was that event you just had? You just had an event, right?
Yeah, back in July, I did an event with Brother Dreamwise. It was Mystic Mind Conference.
How did that turn out?
That was very good, man. Very good turnout. As a matter of fact, it's so funny because it's a white guy that came to do my alarm system in my house, and he came in there and he just started talking spiritual. Me and him just started talking.
Dope.
The guy, I didn't even invite him to the thing. He showed up at the Mystic Mind Conference.
Oh, he came
I said,
through.
Man, where do I know you from, huh?
Damn.
I said, this is the only man y'all have been to Brother Yosef's house.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I was so shocked to see him. He had a good time, man. It was real dope. And this is gonna be my first conference I'm doing. Well, I'm doing by myself with my tribal stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be a good time, man.
Excellent.
We're also gonna have our Prime Minister, Hemak Shillip, is gonna be there as well. Our Prime Minister, he's gonna drop some stuff on being American Aborigine, which is what we consider ourselves, and it's gonna be a good time. We're gonna have some good food, stuffed peppers. If y'all like that vegan stuffed peppers, we're gonna have that. It's gonna be a good time, family.
Indeed. Let me post your Cash App real quick for those who want to support you. What is it again, brother? $, capital B, lowercase RO, capital Y, lowercase OSEF. Brother Yosef. All right. For those who enjoyed this broadcast and want to support, you can hit up Brother Yosef. I'm gonna also put my Cash App if you appreciate the channel. You can also donate to Black Magic 363. Listen, I appreciate. I'm gonna do one question from the chat. I just said 363 and there's 3,630 listeners. That's that synchronicity, y'all. That's that synchronicity. That's that synchronicity right there, y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna do one question. Then I'm gonna get out of here tonight. I'm not staying on here long. Give me one good question in the chat. I mean, this was an amazing show. Give me one good question. Yeah. Give me one good question from the chat. Then we getting out of here. Let me see what y'all talk about. Let me see if there's any super chat questions. No, there's not. Somebody in the super chat said, check out the latest Guardians of the Galaxy. You seen that one yet, Brother Yosef?
I have not. I want to see it because I got Adam Warlock in there. I've been wanting to see that, man. I haven't seen it yet though.
Indeed.
I'm trying to check out this new Denzel Washington movie when it come out this weekend.
Equalizer?
Equalizer. I love Equalizer, so I'm trying to check that out.
Yeah. We're gonna do this question, then we get out of here. Where is it at? Hold up. Where did it go? Oh, can you talk about the goddess Diana? Why do extraterrestrials say she is the answer, I guess, to help humanity?
I have never heard that. What's up, Ruben? I know exactly who that guy is. He always wanted. I knew he was gonna be on there. One of my Patreon members. But yeah, I don't know why people say that. I've never heard people say that. So I don't know, family. I don't know why people say that, but a lot of people say that. Okay, this goes to a good thing, right? there's a lot of goddesses and gods supposedly on this other council, and I want to get this out there so people know.
Yeah.
Called the Ashtar Command, right?
Yeah.
There is no Ashtar Command, family. And as a New Age as a person who is against the New Age, right? Y'all got to be careful with that, because a lot of that New Age stuff is not spirituality. And what they do is they take spiritual stuff and names of deities, and they flip it and they put it in this New Age thing. So the New Age thing, family, is they're going to try to make that part of the whole one world government in the future. This whole New Age thing. So I want you guys to be careful with that New Age thing. They got a thing called the Ashtar Command, what is this man named Michael Ashtar or something like that. He's blonde hair, blue eye. He the savior of the universe.
Oh shit! Right? Here we go.
We not falling for that Jesus trick again. You know what I'm saying? You know, but some people are falling for it. You know, and they just accept it as it is. And I mean, come on. I'm not saying that there is no European extraterrestrials that's from the future. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that ain't real. There ain't nobody running no thing called the Ashtar Command. That's a white man. He's the savior of humanity, and he live on a mothership. You know, ain't that a bitch? You know what I'm saying? So my whole, I mean, when I be reading, I'm like, this is nuts. Like, who believe in this stuff? So I want people to be careful of that. You're gonna see this stuff. Some people, I talk to a lot of young people, especially black people, that's coming into spirituality. They all into this New Age thing. Be careful. I'm not saying it's all bad, but I'm saying the majority, like 90% of it is. And these people are full of it. There's no such thing as the Ashtar Command. It was taken from something else.
Right.
They're trying to make them look like what you call a Great White Brotherhood. Right. And the Great White Brotherhood family, I just talked about that in my recent video I just did today. The Great White Brotherhood family is also called the White Lodge. That's a whole nother thing for those who know, you know. But at the end of the day, the White Lodge has nothing to do with the Ashtar Command. But this is what they steal to try to make themselves. So the Ashtar Command is trying to be the Great White Brotherhood. Some people say they created it, and it just ain't true. So I want y'all to be careful of that and stay away from that type of information, because I'm not trying to be. Hey, it is. I was one of the most Black Power brothers you ever met. I got no problem with white folk today. You know what I'm saying? But my whole thing is like that. Just ain't. I gotta tell y'all the truth. It ain't no white person that's running no Ashtar Command or no Federation. I gotta put that out there.
Excellent, my brother. Any last things you want to tell the people before we get? It's good to hear.
Been well.
Good to hear. I like that medallion you got on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
The show.
A lot of y'all out there know about this. This is my Divine Radiance medallion. And, you know, I've been selling these for the past, I think, 2 months now, 3 months. And I only release 120 every month, family. So, you know, y'all know what it is. They sold out. So they'll be released again in November. And we'll just keep it going. So thank everybody who bought them. I'm getting a lot of good emails, a lot of good feedback. So thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Excellent. And I'm drinking this tea. I'm gonna show you while Brother Yosef is talking sometime during the show. I'm gonna show the people the sister that I buy from. Her name is Nadra. I hope I'm saying her name right, but the tea is amazing tea. It's called I even forgot the name of it, but electric something tea. But I haven't gotten in a while since I've been in Atlanta, and I finally got a hold of it. So I just want to show y'all, put y'all up on game, some good stuff. So shout out to everybody with great product. Like I tell y'all before I start the show, it's very important. We're all geniuses in one way or another, and it's important for us. We've been consumers our whole life. Why not try to be a producer? You know what I'm saying? Even if you have a regular job, it could be something on the side or whatever, but we've been consuming our entire life. There's nothing wrong with producing a product or a service. That's why I said shout out to Brother Yosef and his medallion. That joint resonates with me. That's fire. Shout out to the folks who made this sweater, Nubia Apparel. That's the name. That's where I got online, Nubia Apparel. Yeah, shout out to everybody who has a product or a service out there, family, moving into this next age. That's definitely what it's about. With that being said, Brother Yosef, man.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of magic, man, people get confused out here, man. There's this thing called left-hand path. There's this thing called right-hand path, and people be picking and choosing and criticizing and critiquing. Me, myself, brother, getting into this information. I never really got too deep into the intellectual part. That's why I call myself Black Magic. I'm Black Magic, but I never looked at it as negative because I don't even go that deep into the studies of how it is negative. And people be like, oh my God, you call yourself, yeah, I'm Black Magic, nigga. That's who I am. But so the left hand right hand. I never got into that black magic, white magic. I just do my thing, and it works for me. So to start out with, brother, since there's a lot of confusion about the right hand path and the left hand path, could you clarify exactly what that is for those who may not be aware or those who may be confused, my brother?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I want to start out saying, I don't want anybody to think that while I'm talking, I'm trying to put both sides, the different sides against each other. Because like I've always said, family, both sides are a path to enlightenment. Both sides. The problem is some people deny their very nature. And by them denying their nature, their magic isn't proficient. So some of y'all some people just straight demons. This is what you are. You're supposed to be on a certain path. Now we're going to clarify all that, right? Some people have more of a softer approach or a lighter approach. You're supposed to be on a certain path, but because of popularity or something like that, your magic just ain't efficient enough because you think you should be here and you're not following your nature. And that's what Brother Yosef had to do. So, to be clear, family, I don't believe in good and evil. I believe in the laws of the universe. Okay? Both systems follow the laws of the universe. The left-hand path is, and the right-hand path, we gotta be clear about this. So, this is a term, family, that really came out of India, right? This left-hand, right-hand path term. It came out of India to measure different things when the religious aspect of the Vedic system really started getting pushed, right? So when you look at it, the left-hand path, family, there's really talking about the god Shiva, okay? The god Shiva. The god Shiva, when you're dealing with Shiva, who was the supreme Christ figure, because as we go deeper, family, let's look at it like this. All magic in the West is influenced by the East, right? We know that, So with that being said, this is why I'm saying this, right? We all influenced by them cultures, the Asian cultures, the Indian cultures, the African cultures, right? Which all they pretty much came out of, the African cultures, the European cultures. We're all influenced by those cultures that came to the West and we started doing stuff. So when it comes to the left-hand path, we'll get to that first. This left-hand path, right-hand path thing was something that was influenced by a certain system in India, right? Dealing with the tantric system. And then eventually that system kind of got played off in the Western society as a religious thing, like, oh, you're this and you're that. So to really be clear, right, there is no left-hand, right-hand path. But we live in the third dimension. There is duality. And the way that people work in the third dimension it's male and female, it's left and right, it's negative and positive. This is how we work on things down here. This is why we still need earth elements to even make a lot of magic work until we ascend to the higher vibrations, because we have to have duality. We have to, in the third dimension, it's good and evil and left and right and wrong and all this stuff. That's how it works down here. So to make your path more clear, people say left hand and right hand path. And yes, it's true, family. Some schools, spiritual schools, consider themselves to be a left hand path or a right hand path school. Now, what really is this left hand, right hand path? The right hand path and the left hand path, family, and I spoke about some of this in my lecture I did, the Mystic Mind lecture. The left hand and the right hand path is all about surrender. I want to be clear on that, right? It's not about how many spells you can do or how you can hex people on the left hand path. It's about surrender, because the left hand path is about self-deification. It's about selfishness. It's about becoming your own God of your own world and your own universe. Cool, nothing wrong with that, because you can really achieve and get to that level of enlightenment. But I promise you that path is going to be, it's not an easy path to go, but some of y'all are built for it. Some of y'all supposed to be walking that path because you just ain't going, this other stuff don't make sense to y'all. So a lot of y'all nature is going to take y'all toward the left-hand path. All I'm going to say, right, because I studied the left-hand path greatly, if you're going to follow the left-hand path, family, do it all the way. Don't get stuck in Satanism and get stuck in a few little dark spells and you know how to hex somebody in there. Don't get stuck there. This thing is about evolution. Now, I did a video and I took it down, but it was called How to Evolve in a Left-Hand Path. I feel like so many left-hand pathers is hitting me up. It's like, hey, Brother Yosef, can you show me how to I said, okay, let me put something out there. And I gave y'all a book called Kabbalah, Kalipoff, and Goetic Magic. When I put that book out, the book shot up to thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Told people, boom, the book went up, right? And that book broke a lot of stuff. I tell y'all, it broke it down because that book is based on an actual school that I know somebody who a part of it. Somebody's actually part of a school over there, and they teach the left-hand path. The left-hand path is about that, family. Now, the deepest aspect of the left and the right-hand path, family, is also about surrender. And it's more about merging yourself with Creator, right? Creator. But both paths lead back to the source. I want to say this about the left-hand path, but this is the most popular path that people like to jump on because it's exciting, right? The left-hand path, on the left-hand path, family, you got something called the Agori system. You ain't all the way left-hand path if you ain't studying the Agori. They are the most extreme, supreme left-hand path you ever going to get. Those are real left-hand pathers. They eat the dead body, they eat dead bodies. And I'm not saying they left-hand path is based on what they eat and what they do. I'm just saying, like, this is the energy they work with. They work with the dead, they eat the dead bodies, they're cannibals. They eat cow dung, okay? They take burnt bodies and rub the ashes all over their skin. Matter of fact, if y'all don't know, Dasalam from Street Fighter is an Agori. In case you didn't know that. They got different types of Dasalam. You know, he do the Yuga fire, right? But they got another version of Dasalam where he's more powerful and he actually looks like he's ashy. That's actually Dasalam as a Agori. He wear the skulls around his neck and all that. Even in the new Street Fighter, right? He got the big, skulls around. He's an Agori. The Agori are the top tier left-hand path. Guess what, family? And this is for people who study the left-hand path and think it's all about separating yourself from the gods. No. When you get to a certain level of magic, you become a mystic. Okay? In the mystic path of the left-hand path of the Agori, you're going to learn that they merge themselves with Shiva. Okay? They worship Kali and they worship Shiva. They worship, even though them dudes themselves are most greatly feared, and they'll teach anybody. You just can't never lead a school because you're going to have the ability to teleport and do all kind of stuff, right? You can't lead a school. So those beings in their enlightened self, they still surrender themselves to a greater power. So I want everybody to understand who follows the left-hand path. Don't think it's all about, I'm not a sucker. I'm not a person that's going to bow down. Oh, you're going to bow down. I promise you that. It's a being on the left-hand path that's greater than you. And if you want to really learn, you're going to become a mystic. You're going to have to surrender. And that's what being a mystic is all about. And you learn, that's easy to learn and understand on the right-hand path, because that's what we hear about the term mystic. But the left-hand path, family, what I'm trying to get you to understand, is also about the highest aspects of it. Is not about magic. It's about mysticism, right? You could be a magician all your life and evolve to a certain extent. But trust me, family, you evolve way more greater when you become a mystic. And you start dealing with the internals, and you don't need medallions. You don't need, I'm just giving it to y'all real, right? You don't need medallions. You don't need jewelry. You don't need nothing no more. All you need is your inner energy. So on the left-hand path, them boys over there and girls, they submit to Shiva and to Kali as destructive forces to destroy themselves and build themselves back up. That's what the true left-hand path is about. I hear so many people coming to me left-hand path, and they ain't built for it. They come to me to get demons off of them on consultations. I'm just gonna keep it real.
Yeah, I seen a video you did with the brother from Beyond 5D, and you basically was saying, I hope I'm summarizing it right, that a lot of people that take the left-hand path end up getting washed up.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that to put nobody down. I'm just saying that if you're gonna be left-hand path, make sure you get you some good teachers that's gonna guide you and help you and not just leave you stranded. Because and I think there are some good teachers out there, right? But get a teacher that's going to not leave you stranded and leave you stuck when you start dealing with issues on a path. I follow right-hand path, right? And I know, like I just told you, I ain't no side, but my nature leans more towards that. I want to help people. I want to do things, And I want to be clear: the right-hand path is not about saving the world. It's not about saving trees. It's about getting rid of ignorance and merging yourself with the divine. That's what it's about. Because the only thing that's really evil is ignorance. So the right-hand path is all about that. Let's get knowledge, let's get rid of ignorance, and let's merge ourselves with the divine force. The left-hand path is also merging itself with the divine force. They just doing it in a different way. And some of y'all are built for it. I talk to people that's built for it, and I hear some amazing stories, right? And I talk to people that ain't built for it. What should I do, Brother Yosef? You need to leave that alone for a while and get your energy balanced, right? And that's what that is, to help people understand.
Great introduction, my brother. You are alluding to the concept of there being no good or bad. Many brothers and sisters within the occult realm and the esoteric, metaphysical, spiritual studies, they say that, like, once you get beyond religion, you find that there's no good or bad. What I want to ask you is that when a person studies this information, like, let's say, like I told people before, I've done interviewed everybody. I came down here in this realm and I sat in front of all the great minds in this world, melanated minds in this world, and I questioned them and I studied them and I looked at, and I just interacted with them. One of the brightest minds I've ever interacted with, hands down, was a brother named Brother Polite. Now, Brother Polite got caught up in some shit, some crazy foul behavior where he I forget the exact charges. I think rape of a 14-year-old, something with a young girl. And the semen was on the scene, all types of, I don't want to say things that didn't happen, but people know the gist of the story. Now, this is a brother that's deep in the metaphysical information. Like I said, one of the sharpest brothers I ever interviewed. In terms of there's no right or wrong, does a brother like that get karma? Is there any karma if he did do that, which majority of us think he did do that? Is there karma for him doing that? Because you just said there's no right or wrong. So there must not be no karma for him committing the acts or even the allegations of him scamming. There must be no karma for that because there's no right or wrong. And I just want you to explain that.
Yes. So I believe in right and wrong. I don't believe in good and evil. Okay. I don't believe in good and evil. So good and evil is something I don't believe in. And as I grew, I don't believe. But if there's laws in the universe, that means that there's things that we have to follow. And to a degree, there is right and wrong, right? I do believe in right and wrong. I just don't believe that you can call something evil, no matter how horrendous it is. You have the right to call, people have the right to call something evil, right? But in order to call something, to really paint it as evil outside of our own mind, everybody has to agree with it, right? Like, prime example, if there was a situation where it was a planet next to us and we heard that somebody blew up the whole planet, then everybody on the planet would probably look at it like, man, that was some evil stuff. Right. And that will be probably put in the history books as something that was labeled as evil, right? Mm-hmm. The masses agree with that, right? Mm-hmm. But if somebody did something like shoot your brother, right? Another person may agree with that person who shot. And the other person, and you may say, no, that person killed my brother. It's over with. That was some evil stuff. So evil is, and good and evil is perspective. It's all based on perspective. But there's laws in the universe that exist, and you break those laws, it's wrong. Mm-hmm. There's right and wrong that exist in this world. So we all know how it goes. You do certain things, there's karma, right? And that's based on right and wrong, not good and evil. Right? Mm-hmm. So right and wrong, yes. And I know some people don't really believe in karma like that, but karma is very real. It's very real. And for people who don't, always say, well, how do you explain a baby who got killed in a car accident? Somebody ran in the house and killed the little baby, 1-year-old baby. Like, how you explain a father who slams his 1-year-old baby on the ground and kills his own child? How do you explain that? You know what I'm saying? And that's only because that's karma that's recycled. Mm-hmm. That person who slams the child on the ground and kills his own child, you think something that gonna happen to him when he come back? No, you got to pay that back. You got to pay that back. So that's what I believe in, fam. I do believe in right and wrong. I don't look at things as they're just evil. I think the greatest evil is you hiding information from people who can't better themselves, or you taking away their resources, and they can't better themselves because you're hiding the true information from them. That's what I look at as evil, ignorance.
Indeed. Would one side be right hand path, left hand side? Are they associated with the right hemisphere, left hemisphere of the brain?
They can be. They can be associated with magnetic and electric energy. You know what I'm saying? The left-hand path is definitely more magnetic. And for you left-hand pathers, you need to understand that, right? I did a video where I showed my pentagrams, and I explained when I was on the left-hand path, the type of pentagram I had. And I had that pentagram for a certain reason. So on the left-hand path, you're dealing with chaos. I want to be clear with that, right?
So that's a feminine. That's a feminine energy.
Right. That's a feminine, dark, magnetic energy, right?
Right.
That energy can be taken and it can be transformed and it can be transmuted, right? Now, if you don't do something with it, it's going to be chaotic. And people may say, that's evil. That's bad, right? That's horrible. Yeah, because you let chaos linger, right? A left-hand path magician, literally a true left-hand path magician knows how to take destructive forces and they know how to transmute it into something that they can use, right? They work with that side, right? I don't understand it when I see left-hand pathers working with angels and working with the fairies, and I don't understand it. They don't do that over there. What they do is they work with demons, right? And yes, demons will help you. They will help you. And there's a lot of demons that's neutral. But you're dealing with destructive forces, right? You're dealing with destructive forces, which is part of creation. You just got to understand as a magician on the left-hand path what that is and what that's really all about. That's all that is. There's nothing bad about the left-hand path. I don't follow it because on a deeper level, I think that in the long run, it benefits me to be over here. And I think I grow faster over here. But like I said, some people, they're very nature. They better over there. It's just they rebellious. This is what they do, right? So that's what that is. So the left-hand path family is you have to learn how to control the chaos. And if you don't, that's what makes it dark. That's what makes the left-hand path dark. Now, there are some dark magicians that literally let chaos linger because we got to keep it real. The people who run this world are dark magicians. They're on the left-hand path. It's just true. It is that they're not human. So their idea of what goes is different from what a human left-hand path magician may say goes. They have no problem with controlling humans and treating us like ants on a farm. Right. A left-hand path magician may have a different idea about that unless he has evolved himself into a god. There's some left-hand path magicians that have already evolved themselves and already became enlightened, right? And they work on that side of the force. You know what I mean?
Reminds you a bit of Star Wars, huh?
Exactly. Oh yeah, I love Star Wars. That's exactly what it is. You can't get rid of that. You can't get rid of that side. It's going to be here. Yeah. So the whole thing is like we all got darkness inside of us. We all got evil thoughts. We all fight that. You know, and that's why I tell people in some instances, so-called walking a so-called right-hand path is a lot harder because you literally have to fight and go against everything you were designed to do. Some of us grew up, our daddy was gangsters, and we seen activity in the house, and we lived on a street where our friends sold drugs, and we might have known a friend that shot somebody. You can't say nothing about it, and we have all this stuff we've been exposed to, especially so-called Black people, and we have trauma behind that, right? So that some people, and let me say this too. One thing I noticed too is a lot of people who go towards the left-hand path is people who don't really know how to communicate socially with people in the public, and they tend to get in a lot of arguments and debates and fights with people. Right. So being that that's part of their nature, people always fighting and arguing with you. Y'all know what I'm talking about now. There's people out there in the world that just like to debate. They always in an argument with somebody. It's always the other person's fault. Those people go to the left-hand path all the time, and they create a lot of karma for themselves because their magic is only based on hexing somebody and getting somebody back. And if they do find something good, they usually do a love spell or a spell to keep what they got because they know they not no good in their heart. Right. I run into people like that all the time. Oh, what? And I read their energy. I say, you know what? You're actually not a good person. And I see why you over here doing that. You know what I'm saying? That happens all the time, man. So now I've met some really good, solid people as well. I got friends that walk the left-hand path. That's really in left-hand path schools and stuff, right? And they good, solid people. It's just that this is what they want to do, and they go through the trials and tribulations of that. But a lot of people I find out they start out with hexing people. Oh, I know a candle spell. I know a hex spell, and I'm a hex this person, and they think that's what magic is all about. Right? No, a lot people of people 40, 50 years old hexing people.
Yeah. I say all the time, brother Yosef, if we was given obvious magical powers right now and everybody knew how to utilize them, 85% of the people that probably watching this video will probably use it to hex somebody. And I don't want to say 85, let me say about 65% of y'all, because that's the first thing. If you notice, if you ever argue with somebody and you're in a position, a high position or important position, the first thing they'll wish on you is that you fall or is that something bad happened to you. You know, the first thing, if somebody doesn't get their way with me, like if they don't get on the show, or if they don't get what they want from me, if they get a no from me, the first thing they wish is that, yo, that shit ain't gonna last forever, or yo, this, or it's always some bad shit. I'm like, God damn, yo, niggas always wishing some bad shit when they don't get their way.
It's crazy, man. Instead of just letting, and it's true, the universe will take care of things. If a person really wrong, they gonna get back what they put out. You know what I'm saying? I feel like as long as a person ain't trying to hurt you or take your life, you ain't gotta pull out no heavy duty magic to try to defend yourself or even do something to a person. I leave it alone. And a lot of times, because I know I could touch somebody if I wanted to. So why even go back and forth with this person? I'm leaving it alone. You know what I'm saying? As long as they don't put me in a position where I got to defend myself. So at the end of the day, that's kind of, you got to be careful. Everybody out there, be careful about negative people. And y'all know who I'm talking about. It's a lot of, I hate to say it, but there's a lot of times it's women. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of sisters, you know what I'm saying? I don't talk to them and they just, oh, I'm going to get this person back. And this is earlier in my consultations because I used to just talk to anybody about anything back then. Now it's like I kind of hold out on stuff that people tell me. So it's like, you know, I got to get him. You know, she stole my man and the supervisor at the job. And that's because women are more emotional. So they tend to take things a little bit harder. But even some brothers, right? People as a whole, hexing people. Stop that. Y'all don't know what y'all doing half the time. I know people personally who have tried to tell me that came to me to get a hex that they put on themselves. You know what I'm saying? They don't try to hex somebody else, end up hexing themselves in the middle of it. It's like, what are y'all doing out here? It ain't necessary. It ain't worth it. Learn magic for the sake of evolution and growth, and stop trying to learn it to get somebody back or to take money or to take love or take something. Get it, do it the right way. But like I said, some people are just negative people, and y'all know what I mean. They always gotta. They never, you know, they be mad about something for 3 months and it's over with. You know what I'm saying? That's a negative person. They got to get that out of their head. You know what I mean?
Indeed. No, definitely. Somebody said something in the chat and shout out to everybody who sent super chat. You're showing some super chat love. Okay, somebody, is there any connection, Yosef, with the left-hand path and the rings of Saturn, or Saturn? Anything associated with Saturn?
Saturn is always associated with the left-hand path. Saturn is always associated with the left-hand path. I wouldn't say the rings of Saturn, but you can look at it like that, because when we get married on the finger of Saturn, and we put Saturn's ring around our Saturn finger. You know what I'm saying? So we literally get married under the judge, Saturn, right? Yeah. And we put that golden ring around. So it's a lot of metaphysics behind that, but Saturn is always associated with the left-hand path. Yes.
Indeed. Wow. I didn't even think about the ring, the wedding ring being the ring of Saturn. I didn't even think about it like that. Yeah. That wedding ring, boy, that, you know, when you're young, like I was a Christian when I got married. So I honored